Welcome tonight to Legacy Real Talk. We're back and we've got another awesome topic that we're going to discuss with you tonight. Now, as you may have heard a few times in our previous episodes, you would have heard a saying that we've said, which is got to press the reset button. And so we thought, you know what, we're going to get a little bit more discussion around that tonight and find out more about what that means and why we refer to that. So, when you think of reset, you think of rebooting a computer, or you think of, your phone. If your phone's sort of running a bit slow, you reset it so that it can catch up and get back up to speed and function more orderly. So that's when you think of reset, that's usually what people think about. But we're going to discuss about how in everyday life there's an opportunity for us to press that reset button and kick into a reboot of new things and how we can relate that to our lives. So we'll have a little bit of a chat about that with the ladies.
Yeah, so I'm really excited about talking about resetting. Every time in our lives where we feel that things are a little bit chaotic or they're getting on top of us, this is some of the best times where you can actually just take a breather, step back and have a look at what's going on in your life, what you need, what you don't need, what you've picked up by default. Because sometimes when we're going through those day-to-day things, sometimes we tend to pick up things that we don't mean to, like other people's opinions, other people's views of how we should do things, until the point where we lose our joy in doing what we want to do day to day. And then one day we find, oh my gosh, I'm so tired, I don't want to even get out of bed. But at one point in time, you were really excited about getting up and doing this thing, whether it be going to school, getting a degree, or going to work, or raising your children. There are those days as well.
That can take your joy away at times. I absolutely agree. I mean, but I think to myself, well, do you actually recognise that you're in that place? Is the rat on the treadmill going so fast and just, so continuous that you don't even know that you're actually in there. So what's the point that actually makes you stop and recognise, you know what, I'm just doing the same old. I'm in a rut here. I'm no longer enjoying what I'm doing. What actually is the point that gets us to saying, hey, I need to make a change?
I think it was what Paula was saying as well, is that when you start to get that heaviness, that burden, starts to become task orientated, where you're obligated. It's out of, I've got to do this, I have to do this, is no longer a joy. And I think that's a good point, is for us to, it's a bit thought provoking for us to think about, is are we more chained up or caged up than we realise? Like you said, the rat on the treadmill or going around the wheel. Do we realise sometimes that can be us in a cycle, week after week, day after day, being very systematic and stuck in a process, not realising it? And that, like you said, that is some of the signs, is when you start to get tired, you start to get weary, and you start to lose your passion or your love for whatever you're doing.
Well, I mean, sometimes it's just a case of survival. What happens is that you work and you work to put food on the table and to survive, and then you forget about some of the things that you would dream about, or some aspirations that you would have. So when I had my children and I was a single mum, I had 3 jobs. So I would work at a restaurant, and then I'd also work at a meat packers, packing meat, and at night I'd go and work in a bread place, slicing bread and turning donuts. So did I ever stop and say to myself, oh man, I've got great aspirations to be something? No way. All I was thinking about was just surviving from one week to the next. So people can get themselves in a place where, because of circumstances or because of just the environment that they're actually in, that there's not that there's not the freedom to be able to feel as though that they can have some dreams and aspirations of their own. But it's more like a kicking in and a survival thing.
So literally like a head down, tail up, just keep going. You've got to put food in these children's mouths, especially as a single mum.
Yeah.
You would like, what would have been that changing point? Because obviously you no longer work 3 jobs anymore.
Yes, that's right.
So what was that turning point for you that you think, I don't want to do this anymore?
Yeah. Well,
there's better things in this?
There's better. I've had a lovely friend called Mark Holloway and his wife Miriam. And Mark Holloway said to me, Gay, he said, you know what? He said, you need to come and see me on Sunday, me and Miriam. And I thought, okay, right. What's this all about? And then he said, he managed a newspaper, the Huntley Press, and he said, I want you to come work for me. And you see, straight away the mindset said, you can't do that. You haven't had a proper education. You finished school in the 4th form, and you haven't even got school C. And I said all these things to him. I must have given him a whole 100 reasons of why I couldn't, and about 2 seconds flat.
Yeah.
And he said, hey, he said, look, he said, no, I've got a job for you, and I believe that you can do it. Yeah. So in my first few weeks at the newspaper, he sent me to Auckland, and the guest speaker there was Zig Ziglar.
Yeah. Whoa.
And Zig Ziglar was up on stage, and he said to me, he said to 3,000 others, but none of them heard. Just me, because it was just me and Ziggy. And he said, the only person that is stopping you from being all that you can be is you.
That's so true.
And you know what? It went in. And I thought, wow, it's me. I'm the one that's holding me back. So back to work, I trot the next day, and Mark says, so how did it go yesterday, Gay? And I said, it's fantastic. And he goes, yeah. And I said, oh, yeah, I could do your job. He goes, oh, can you now? Because he was the manager. Yeah. And I said, yeah, I'm pretty sure I could. Anyway, long story short, I did. I did pursue that, and I did become advertising manager, and then a manager, and started other newspapers. And so you know what it is? It's here. It's here. When you free yourself in your own mind, when you start to believe in yourself, that then is the opening to be able to pursue a dream.
Very good.
You know, if I'd believed myself, if I'd believed in my own lies, I would never have done some and worked in some of the amazing places that I have.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. I think that's the thing too, is like hearing you share is that cycle that people can get in that survival mode. And I know some people may know, and I know we know of, we play a game called Cash Flow, and this was created by Robert Kiyosaki and Donald Trump as well. Was it both of them or just Kiyosaki?
Just Kiyosaki.
Well, and in the game, there's a part where you're in the rat race.
Yeah.
Which is, and it's funny because as much as a game, the more you play it, you get a bit depressed because
you're
thinking, "Oh my gosh, that's my life."
That is true.
So you're running around the game, and every time you pass, pass the paycheck, you're like paycheck, and it's survival. It's just survival mode.
Yeah.
And so that's everyday life. That's people who have like, I've got to go to work. If I don't turn up, if I go and pursue my dreams and stop turning up to work, there's no money.
That's right.
But then it moves on to the ability for us to pursue dreams. Now, I think the big thing there is what stops us from pursuing, like moving out of that rat race, or what gives us that confidence. And it was great what you shared, is that we're our worst enemy. We're the ones who block ourselves and stop ourselves.
Absolutely.
And the way I see it is like there's like train tracks in life, or like tracks that are grooved in life that you roll on naturally. It's kind of what you get shown, and how your parents, if your parents worked jobs and they just were in the rat race, that's all you ever know. To get off those tracks, it's quite bumpy. The terrain's difficult, it's hard, it's a climb, and you can be excited initially but then fall back into those tracks. So I think that's what the important thing is to discuss, like how do we break out of that? Because I know we all like to think we're innovative. We all like to think like, yeah man, I'm out of the box, but sometimes we're not as out of the box as we think we are.
Exactly.
We're a lot more caged in to the systems and the structures that are set before us, whether it be in our careers and pursuing dreams and our family life. So I think that's another important thing biggest blockage that stops people from moving out of that survival mode.
Exactly.
I do think that who you hang out with is definitely plays a big part.
That definitely.
It can influence and shape who you are. People that believe in you, people that are going to encourage what you see as, can I really do that? They go, yeah, you can do it.
Yes.
And I know Aura Gay and Pastor Kitty are like, yeah, we can do this.
Yeah.
And they're like right there beside you. That's why I love being with these women.
Yeah.
Is that you feel invincible.
Yes.
You wanna, and those are the kind of people that they say it to your face, but they also say it behind your back. That she's going to do this, and it's she's going to get through. You know, you've got a team going for you to your face and behind your back.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that plays a big part, which boosts your confidence to know who you are.
Yeah.
But also it encourages, like for me, I think of myself. I got pregnant at 16 at an early age, and I had a number of voices coming in, oh, that's it, it's over. Why did you want to do a stupid thing like that for? Oh, you're never going to pursue your dreams. That's it, you're stuck at home for the rest of your life. And no doubt a lot of a woman could relate to that. A lot of people could relate to that. So I had that in me, and I just thought, oh my gosh, maybe my life is over. Like, you start to have that doubt because all that doubt was being sown into you, that I could never achieve my dreams or my goals. And you know, I had one baby at 16, then another one at 17.
Oops.
And then we used a little bit of wisdom. Used a little bit of wisdom and had another one at like 20, and then another one at 21.
And then
our beautiful Blessy at 24. And you know, to some people actually they would believe that their life was over.
Yeah.
Yes.
But from the young age of 12, I know that I wanted to become a social worker. And if the environment around me wasn't going to encourage me, I was going to find it. I was going to find that place in that space. I didn't know how, but I believe in God, obviously.
Yeah.
So I believe He led me down the right path that I needed to go to in order to fulfill what I believe is His purpose for my life. And so, obviously, I got my degree in social work. I did a certificate, but while managing a family and a marriage and all that sort of jazz.
Yeah.
But it wasn't so much about the achievement, it was more so about having the confidence and resetting my thought patterns by surrounding myself with the right people that were going to encourage me to, you can do this. And you know, there were their little battles along the way. Don't think you're going to pursue your dreams and not have any fight or some resistance in there, because you will. Whether it be with your loved ones, whether it be the ones closest to you, you know, you've got to keep your eyes focused on what you want to do in life. So that's just a little bit about
Absolutely, definitely. You know, I think about the old Colonel. Like, imagine if he'd given up. You know, we wouldn't be.
Colonel Sanders?
Exactly. I mean, there'd be no Kentucky Fried Chicken today. That'd be a bit sad for a lot of people.
Depressing for a lot of people.
But I think I read somewhere that he tried to get his business off the ground over 1,000 times, 1,009.
That's amazing.
Now, you know, that's commitment.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, often what happens is people go, oh, I want to do this and I want to do that. They give it about 2 or 3 shots. Oh, no, that didn't work. Oh, no, you know, I'm out for the count. So, you know, that persistence, he believed that he had something.
That's it.
And away he went, you know.
Well, like you said, that it wasn't just persistence and that consistency and the commitment to it. He believed so much in it that it was like, if I do not, you know, get this right, I'm missing out. So he didn't give up.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, everybody that, from what I can see anyway, that has been a success that we term as being successful, they've failed
many times.
You know, Walt Disney.
Yeah.
I mean, what's her name? Somebody or other, Rowlands that...
Martha Stewart was bankrupt. Donald Trump went bankrupt.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what? They rose again.
That's right.
I was about to say, he probably still is now.
But, you know, they never gave up, did they? They never gave up.
Yeah.
They kept on going.
Yeah.
What I find is really interesting with people is that in everybody, inherently, you know what? They've got a talent in there.
Absolutely.
They've got a talent. All they have to do is to tap into that.
Yeah.
And often what is frustrating is that you can see it, but they can't see it.
Yeah.
Because it was what we were talking about before. Get in that little groove. Get in that little treadmill.
Slip back into
you know,
the
who are you
slipstream.
hanging with?
Yeah.
Oh, no, you're useless. You're never going to be any good. Well, hang on. Instead of hanging around with the turkeys, why don't we get up there with the eagles?
Fly with the eagles.
Exactly.
That's exactly it. You know, so I don't believe that there's anybody that can't pursue a dream and attain it at some level.
I agree.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's not for us to decide how successful or unsuccessful they are. If they get to a point and they go,
yeah,
that's it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you're an
Success.
inspiration in that sense too. You know, when you think about, when you think about, because we have conversations, obviously. This isn't fake, by the way. This is real. We talk all the time. But I know that Gay shared with us a bit how she wanted, as a young woman, to become a teacher.
Yeah.
But back in those days, that wasn't heard of. You basically found a good husband, you settled down, you cooked, you cleaned.
You had babies.
Yeah. And that was the end of it. But did you want to share about what the outcome of that was?
Yeah, well, you know, I always wanted to be a school teacher, and like I said, my mum thought back then in those days that girls didn't need an education, and it was the boys that needed an education. So a couple of my younger brothers actually went off to boarding school and did things like that. So at one stage there, I almost made it to boarding school, and I was like, and then at the last minute, whatever happened, it didn't go through.
Yeah.
But many years later, when I was in my 50s, actually about 55, good 55, I was approached to do training and teaching. So that childhood desire, that childhood dream, that little thing in there that said, look, I want to do this, had gone all those years and had been brought back to me again. And I'm like, yes, God, you never forget. You never forget the desires of our heart, you know. And so it was fulfilled.
Yeah.
It was fulfilled. Now, but who would have thought at that age that...
But
it
your
would come
passion,
around?
obviously, at that young age to be a teacher, was obviously a gifting within you.
Yeah.
Yes,
That you had a
probably.
gifting
that's right.
to teach. So that desire to be a teacher was always
Or was
in
it
you.
just to boss everybody around and make them do what? Listen to me. Now listen to me.
Yeah, the kids always want to be the teacher, the boss. But that's when your expression, which is part of your purpose, came through that. And I think that's where it's important. When you've got passions and desires and giftings within you, it's so important to pursue that and don't be afraid to pursue it.
Yeah, that's right.
And I think just want to come back to what Paula was saying about, you know, at the age of 16 being pregnant and straight away being categorised and told, you belong over in that box over there. That will be your lot in life. And too often we allow people to dictate our future. We allow them to tell us what direction we can or can't go in. And that's, I guess that's what we're talking about, the reset button. And it is about resetting some things in our own life, but also not caging ourselves in or not allowing others to. And I think the biggest thing is fear. You know, if you think of anyone who is afraid to pursue their dreams or pursue anything in life, it's always a fear of failure. It's a fear that what if it doesn't happen?
I told
it's a
you
fear
so.
of and then it's a fear of the way people are going to look at me, and then they're going to think I'm foolish, and they're going to watch me, you know, and all those kinds of things. And I know we all like to say, I don't care what people think, but the truth is we care.
Yes, we do.
We all care what people think. We all love compliments and
that's
comments
exactly right.
and nobody likes to be given a negative comment. However, it's not about that. It doesn't actually really matter what anybody says. It's what we allow them to speak into our lives. So we can care, you know, even though we care what people say, we don't allow it to determine what direction we go in. So I think that's the biggest thing, is that we allow so much of not just people, but even just systems and structures and the corporate world and employment and education to tell us this is what it's supposed to look like. And if you're not doing it that way, it's wrong. But then we've got to ask the question, but is it? We're all innovative. And I believe God's created us that way. He's created us so innovative and creative that sometimes it scares us. Sometimes we're a little bit afraid to do it because it looks different. So I guess that's the discussion now with the reset is, man, reset. Wipe it clean. Start again. And you know what? If you're going in a direction or you're going down a track that not many people have walked, be excited about it.
Yeah, that's
but
right.
you know what? When we reset and when we start again, it doesn't mean to say that we have to wipe out everything that we've done previously, because along the way you learn.
Exactly.
Along the way.
All the failures you learn.
Yeah,
That's your classroom.
You do. And you know, I like what you said about fear. You know, that people like to say, I don't care what people think, but they actually do.
Yeah.
And I think about the amount of times that poor old Colonel Sanders, you know, was rejected, and the rejection that he must have felt. I mean,
Well, he was living in his car, wasn't he? During that whole process.
Yeah. I mean, he wasn't a skinny man, was he? So
He might have been before, but he definitely wasn't after.
So you would
He
want
ate
to hope
fried
that that
chicken.
car was a decent size.
He had to try a lot of chicken.
Yeah, he ate fried chicken
I can vouch for it.
and gravy.
It's legit.
That's right.
No, that's cool.
But yeah, I was thinking of a time too. I know I share about myself, but that's the best way.
Good.
You can't argue with my testimony. Anyway,
It's your story.
Yeah.
You share it, girl.
You tell
when I
us.
think about career and stuff like that, I remember a time, and I say this with all humbleness, I never really started as a worker. I went straight into a team leader role, so I always had a responsibility, and I wasn't really ambitious. I always try to hide behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And then I think about, why did I do that? It's because I didn't want to, I didn't want people to see me. I didn't want people to see that I was succeeding. I know that sounds silly, but we do have, again, it's that fear, because then they start looking at you, then they start picking out little bits in your life and things like that. And I know that I was, somebody approached me to offer me another job and things like that. Again, another team leading role. And then I moved over here to Australia. And the thing is, when we moved over from New Zealand to Australia, we were looking, I suppose, to reset. However, when you reset, just because you're in a new place and in a new country,
Absolutely.
you've still got an old mindset.
That's
True.
right.
So when you're resetting, you've got to assess everything.
Yes.
And so with my career, I had to
Good.
reset even that way of thinking, because I remember one time, because I was a coordinator over here when I came over, and then I became a team leader for another program, and I remember sitting with my supervisor and asking her, she asked me, what would I like to do? And I said, what are your thoughts about me possibly getting some training to become a manager? All my other managers were kind of shaping me and mentoring me. This one person said, maybe it's not for you. And then I was like, okay, why did that rattle me so much?
Yeah.
Because I actually started to think, well, maybe it's not for me. And you start to doubt him and have fears. And that's why I say people that speak into your life, make sure that they're significant.
Yeah.
To be honest, she wasn't significant, but from a professional aspect, it was a bit significant. So when she said, maybe it's not for you, it kind of shocked me.
Yeah.
But I thought, well, actually, does her voice matter?
Yeah.
Does she matter anymore? Because there have been so many positives, and yet one seed of doubt kind of shook me and kind of like, got the speed wobbles and started falling off the track. But I think after that, I got a good learning from that, is that I'm greater than that.
Yeah.
Why
Good
would I
stuff.
want to minimize and shape myself to that one seed of doubt when I have all these 101 responses? Not that I need people's opinions, but it can help sometimes.
Absolutely.
But 101 positive things, and yet I held on to that one negative thing.
seed, yeah.
And you know what I think it was? I think it because I was tired and I was weary.
Yeah.
I was tired inside, and I was in that grind of going. And then when I finally thought, actually, I need to reset this, I actually pulled away and I had a look and started to take off all the baggage that I had picked up along the way and started to get rid of it. It's like, well, that doesn't matter anymore. It's like going through your closet of clothes.
Yeah.
You know, you got this closet here, and it's like, I'm not going to wear that anymore. Don't need that.
Yeah.
You know, throw that away, throw this away. And then you've got this nice little compact, yes, that's it. And then you start to pick up with your joy, and you're like, I really love this, and I really want to do this, and I'm doing it for the right reasons. So that's a part of like resetting it. And I suppose I'm using a career aspect, but it can apply to our lives on a regular basis.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so weariness, and that's a kind of a sign that you're maybe burning out, and you may need to push that reset button.
Yeah.
That's good. I think that's, and like we're saying, I know we're talking a lot about success and business and career, but it's every aspect of our lives that reset button needs to be pushed, like in our marriages, in our relationship with our children, is not just becoming so monotonous and just doing, like kind of like tuning through the day and just going on the treadmill of life. It's actually saying, hey, hold on a second. No, I'm going to reorganize, reprioritize what's important and what outcomes do I want. And I think that's another thing too, to challenge ourselves is we've had goals, like I set a goal for myself 5 years ago. How far have we gotten to it? If we haven't, why?
That's right.
And one thing I think about when I think of pursuing things is I love being inspired by people, but the biggest thing I often say is I'm sick of being inspired by people. I want to inspire, you know what I mean? Like sometimes you can be so driven by watching other people succeed, it actually stirs me to like hurry up and do something, move, you know what I mean? Like do something, stop being like, wow, look, they did this, oh, they're so amazing, wow, look, they did that. I'm like, do something. And that's the thing is when you have that belief in yourself that you can, and you know what, I don't have a, I didn't do fifth form. I didn't even do fifth form, but you know what, I know that the gifts, like Gay was saying, gifts and passions that you had within you, you didn't even really know the giftings that you had, but
that's right.
God's put them there.
Yeah. That's right.
So you pursuing it, you're going to succeed because it's a gift that's been given to you. Yes. So a lot of things that I've pursued hasn't been because I've been educated in it, and I'm all for education. As my children grow, I want whatever they want to pursue. I want to support that in every way I can. But I personally wasn't educated in it. It was just by actually taking steps, and I think that's a big thing is actually taking those steps of faith. Having belief in yourself even when you're a little bit uncertain, because that's where it's kind of like the bigger the risk, the bigger the reward. With all of those things. So I think it's so important to leap out on some things. Don't, like I said, like we discussed at the beginning, don't allow yourself to be so boxed and caged in. And I think we can all say, I'm guilty, I've done that. Yes. I've allowed myself to be caged in to other people's thoughts, other people's patterns, other people's expectations. And so that's why it is important who you surround yourself with. And it's not just about the positive feedback, it's also the accountability. People who want to see you succeed or who have succeeded that you connect yourself with are going to hold you accountable. They're going to say, how's that thing going? How are you going with writing that book, Paula? You said you were going to write.
5 years
well, how much time are you putting into it? And they'll actually challenge you because they want to see you succeed. So that's why, whoever you want to, that's why I always think about who I want to become like, associate myself around them. People who are so much more advanced than me and whatever I want to be successful in, I want to be next to them.
That's right. That's exactly right.
That's exactly
because you know what, along the way when you were a child, a lot of these things actually got formed in you without you even recognising it. A very simple example of this is, how do I like my porridge? I'll tell you how. Thick, so that the spoon stands straight up. Smothered in brown sugar. A big daub of butter that melts, so it looks like the milk, but it's not because you've got cream to add to that.
Holy
moly!
But somebody else would have their porridge. How would they have it?
I would have mine. Mine would be good. All of that, but I grew up and I'd have a piece of toast with Vegemite on it. And I would put, I know you're all like, and I would put my porridge on my Vegemite toast. So this would be instead of the butter. And eat it. That's it. That was us.
How did that happen? What?
Hey, the same as your watermelon and your beetroot dip. Holy. So I'm normal.
You guys are like, why are they talking about porridge? This has gone weird. But what that is we're talking about how traditions and the way that you are raised, or the things that you're, what is it called? Like the conditions, or the culture you're surrounded in, whatever that may be, your family life, your business, relationships, that can actually condition you in a certain way,
Yeah.
and you think that's the only way.
Yes.
So you think that's the only way. Oh, you didn't try to with Vegemite. I don't think it's the only way, but that's all you know. Over here, she's like, ew, both of you now.
No, just brown sugar and cream is all good with me.
Still talking about porridge.
Yeah, that's still yum.
Funny. But, as you can see, there's so many different things that you can be just conditioned by, and you can be caught into those grooves.
Yeah.
And that's why it's important to press that reset button.
Yeah, and find yourself.
Yeah.
Like, what do you want to achieve?
Yeah.
What is it actually going to take for you to get from where you are today to where you want to be tomorrow?
Very good.
And then start to take those steps. And look, hey, if you take a step and then you slip back half a step, take another one.
Yeah.
But never give up.
Yeah.
Never give up.
Yeah.
That's the key.
I agree.
And I mean, the satisfaction that you get from achieving just small things. Give yourself little small goals
Yeah.
Good
that you
stuff.
can attain.
Yeah.
And then move on from there.
Yeah.
But, so what have we decided? What have we decided about what we've talked about tonight? What do we want the people that are watching to fully understand?
Yeah.
For me, I reckon it's never too late to reset and, have a look at what is important to you in life. One thing that we always say, family is important to us. However, how many hours a day at work are you spending? How many hours a day are you spending at the gym? How many hours a day do you spend actually with the things that are important to you, such as your parents, your grandparents? Like, I challenge myself with this. My parents live an hour away, and I'd like to see them a lot more often, and my brother and all my family and stuff like that. So for myself, I'm having to reset that area. But I suppose for all of us, what is really important to you? What have you picked up along the way that you've kind of lost your joy in doing it all? Because life is a journey, but it's to be enjoyed. And I like what Gay said, set your goals, but one thing too is reward yourself along the way. Don't forget to celebrate the small victories.
That's right.
The small victories are determined by you.
Yeah.
And like for me,
So good.
I was working at the beginning of the year on doing a chin-up. So
Yeah.
it took me a couple of months and I managed to do 5, and I tried it again this morning and I was like, I can't do it. But that's because I did like 20 or 30 or 50 press-ups beforehand. But you know what I'm saying? I rewarded myself and just enjoying the moment.
Yeah.
It's like, I did it, and nobody else would ever understand the challenges I had to go through, the clean eating, the extra press-ups, the near vomiting just to kind of get to that place.
True.
But enjoy the journey. And for me, it's like, what do you need to reset? Like for all of us, what do we need to reset?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's good. And I know, I can't actually remember who, I think it might be Einstein saying, but it's like insanity, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
That's right.
So I think that probably sums it up for me in terms of reset, is we can't expect to be doing the same things, having the same habits, living the same lifestyle, and expecting things to be changing.
Absolutely.
And I know that might be a little bit like, we might all go, we all want change, and we do. Everybody wants better. Everybody wants change for their lives, but it is taking the time to reflect and provoke yourself with some of that thought on what can I change, how can I adjust, what can I do to actually change my future. And that's every aspect of our lives. I think even in marriages, I've been married for coming up 17 years.
Wow.
And that's like, to me, I'm like, oh, cool. But that could also be like, oh, that's been a long time. With him? Nah. You know what I mean? Like, people can have a different perspective of it. But to me, that's exciting. Like, I'm like, we've had the best time and we've got so much more to experience. But you can reset that. For some people, they haven't reset that button. Even after 5 years. Or even after 2 years. They haven't reset. They've kind of gotten stale in their relationship or anything like that. So every aspect of your life, you've got to always reset for that next level, for that next stage. And something I always encourage people, I always say, you know what was sufficient for you maybe in that early stage, I'm just going to talk about marriage, but this can be every aspect of your life. In that early stage of your marriage, what was sufficient in your way of communicating, how you, kind of blessed each other, looked after each other, may not be sufficient in this later season of your life. So to be trying to just do the same things that you did in year 1 and 2 may not quite cut it in year 16 and 17. Right. So it's all about that reset and changing, and evolving and growing together. So I think that for me, a reset is that don't continue to do the same thing, expecting a different result, and then being upset about it when you haven't made any changes. So encouragement, don't be fearful of people. Don't fear people's eyes or their smirks or their what are you up to or the what are they up to. It doesn't matter. It's your life. Enjoy it. Have fun. You know what? And everything you do, enjoy it. Yeah. Have fun with it. Don't be so stressed out and pressure on yourself. Have a good time. So that was a big, sum up. What about you, Gay?
Hit that topic.
Well, you know what? I'm just going to finish with this, and it's simply this. When you pursue your dream and you make a happier you, it not only affects you personally, but those around you.
Good. Yeah.
So it's more than just you.
Yeah, that's right.
It's more than just you. And I've often seen that when people, men and women, feel as though they've accomplished, they become a better person, and in turn the people around them feel much happier. Yeah. So that's it. That's it tonight. So you make sure that you believe in yourself, number 1. Number 2, surround yourself with really good people. Right. Number 3, hit that reset button.
Yes.
And number 4, never stop dreaming. Yes. Because you know what? You can achieve.
That's right.
Nothing is impossible.
That's
Nothing is impossible, particularly with God.
That's right.
Yeah, so good. Awesome. That was a good night.
That was.
Yep.
Now, before we leave you, our next episode, we've got a very powerful story that we're going to be sharing with you. And our topic is going to be called, what is it?
Against all odds.
Yeah, against all odds. And we're going to be sharing the story of one particular man who, that title is absolutely perfect for his story. So you're going to have to join us in 2 weeks' time. And we're going to be showing it live. And we're actually going to have him live here on set with us. And we're going to be sharing that. So God bless. Have an awesome rest of the night. And we really hope that you enjoyed that topic. Yeah. So reset. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.